Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cruise Control. I'm Fred Staub, and as always, my co-host is Les Jackson.
Here.
and we've got some great automotive information for you. If any of you have gone out to buy a vehicle, you know the price on the sticker is not necessarily what you're paying, and we're going to talk about that. One manufacturer is sort of fighting back against that, Les.
Well, they're going to try. They only have so much control, but they're getting angry.
Yeah, I think they are. And then we're going to talk about a new plug-in hybrid from the folks at Kia, which is pretty exciting.
That's right.
And then cars are getting safer, but the roads are getting more dangerous. What's up with that? We'll look into that, right, Les?
And people are getting more dangerous,
people are getting dangerous, too. It's true.
Yeah.
Anyone flying an airplane lately?
No, thanks.
And you have a review coming up, right?
I do.
The
Veloster.
Okay. R-spec.
The R-type Veloster. It is. It's a high performer for a very reasonable price.
All right. Well, all that's coming up and more on Cruise Control, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
This is Cruise Control. Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staub and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
And indeed, you are on Cruise Control, and so are we. I'm Les Jackson. The other guy is Fred Staub. This is Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. And we have a real variety of subjects to talk about this week. We're going to cover kind of everything. And listen, Fred, I've got a 78... Lincoln Zephyr for sale for only $29,000. Are you interested?
Oh, wow. That is a deal, Les. And probably it is a deal because $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 over the manufacturer's suggested retail price of new vehicles. That's what some buyers have been paying. Is this the new normal? Will it continue even after the chip shortage goes away? Well, we'll tell you what one automotive executive thinks, and he's not too happy about it.
No, and some of the others aren't either. And meanwhile, Kia shows off its plug-in hybrid Sportage. It's a cool little SUV.
Yeah.
They're at the Chicago Auto Show. We have the details on it. Every time they refresh it, it just gets better and better.
Yeah, it sure does. It's always been a great seller for them, and this one is going to be a great seller for them as well, I believe. Mm-hmm. Also, cars are getting safer, but the roads are getting more dangerous. What's that mean? Why is that happening? You know why, Les Jackson?
I do know why, and we'll tell everybody why a little bit later when we cover that.
End of civilization. That's what I think it is.
It's I'm blaming it on my grandmother.
Okay.
But over at Volvo, the question is, are they planning a secret electric-powered SUV for the U.S. market?
Well, one report says yes, and it may be built in the U.S. for the U.S. market, maybe exclusively for that. So
that'd be cool.
I don't think they'll keep it a secret for too long. You don't sell too many that way. Hey, what about the model XJ9 2000? I can't talk about that.
That's right.
Yeah.
It officially doesn't exist, but you can buy it at your local dealer.
Yeah. And you have a At the Wheel review, don't you? We love to drive them and talk about them.
Yes, the Hyundai Veloster R-Spec. For those boy racers who want to get a speeding ticket as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
this is your car.
I think of you as a boy racer. When I say Les Jackson, I say boy racer.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah, so we appreciate you listening to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Like I always say, if you're going out to buy a vehicle, listen up, because we have the inside scoop on new models, some of the deals that are coming up, and what you might experience when you enter the inner sanctum of the dealer. So,
oh, boy.
Stay tuned to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Be right back.
Public service of
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staub and Les Jackson with you. We're glad you're along for the ride. Yeah, we have been encountering this and hearing stories. Of course, there is a car shortage due to the chips, due to supply chain. Used cars are up $10,000. I experienced this. A friend of the family, Honda fan. She had a Honda that had big mileage on it. It had a problem. It wasn't worth fixing. She's like, okay, I'll go get a new Civic. They had one Civic on the lot, $5,000 over MSRP. And there's nothing you can do about it. You need the car. They're just going to do it. And the dealers, many of them feel justified doing this. We can't get cars, so, we're going to charge more over. And you have a story that's much more egregious than $5,000.
It's, I told this story a few months ago that, and at the time it was the most. It was a Mercedes dealer here in D.C. that had an S-Class, $132,000 S-Class Mercedes.
Right.
They sold it to an embassy staff person for a $60,000 markup.
Wow.
And I thought, okay, it couldn't get worse than that. Well, it did.
Right. It got worse?
It got worse. A different Mercedes dealer just charged somebody, I don't know who it was, what they do for a living, buying one of those Galanda wagons, which are
the
really
G-Wagon.
Kind of stupid.
Uh-huh.
And those themselves are extremely expensive.
Yeah, they're almost $200,000.
Almost 200. Well, that one was
yeah.
marked up an additional 100,000.
Wow. That's really highway robbery.
It is. It is. And by the way, forgetting about these extremes, paying $5,000 more for a Civic, or I've heard, I don't know anyone personally, but I've heard of a friend of a friend that bought a Camry, and it was marked up $3,000.
Uh-huh.
Now, the irony here is that the sticker on the car, the window sticker, the Monroney, that's what it's called,
Yep.
was put in place by Congress, Mike Monroney, the congressman,
That's right,
whose name is, back in the early 70s, because dealers were lying about what the cars were going to cost. They would just put their own sticker.
I think it should cost $10,000 more. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you wanted an Impala, it was, instead of being $5,000, they were saying, oh, well, that's $6,250. And so Congress enacted the Monroney law, which requires that sticker to be there to give you the suggested retail price. The irony is the law doesn't matter.
No, it's suggested.
The dealers are just saying, I don't care about that sticker.
Yeah.
There is no law in place. There used to be, but the Reagan administration days, they got rid of the usury laws, which took this out. So it's not illegal for these people to charge whatever they want.
No, and our friend of the family said, I think that's illegal, and it's actually not illegal. Is it a great thing to do? No. Is it a great business move? No, short-sighted, but it is what they do. Now, it's over at Ford, Jim Farley, their CEO, is getting pretty upset about this, and it has to do with the F-150 Lightning. Now, F-150 Lightning, of course, is the electric F-150. A lot of excitement about it. They're trying to crank up production of the vehicle because it just, there's so much demand for it already. People are going to be waiting for a number of years. Well, dealers are taking advantage of this. And one Ford dealership is charging $30,000 over MSRP. That has angered Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford. And the dealers were told that markups are negatively impacting customer satisfaction, and they are damaging the Ford Motor Company brand and dealer body reputation. So this week, Jim Farley issued a stern threat during an earnings call, and he restated that troublesome markups that some dealers are charging the Msrp vehicle shortage. He remarked, it's only about 10% of the dealer network that is guilty of this, but he said we have very good knowledge of who they are, and their future allocation of product will be directly impacted. Basically, they won't get vehicles to sell. So do you want to make your money and then end your business, or do you want to keep doing business and treat people right?
Well, the interesting thing here is they're saying it's 10% of the dealers. I don't know about you, but around DC here.
Well, let's pick that up after the break. We will be right back.
Got it. I still say
Cruise Control.
welcome back to Cruise Control. Okay, we promised at the beginning of the show that we would have a variety of stories, and one of the things we mentioned is that cars, while they've gotten safer and safer, the roads haven't. And boy, the statistics are grim.
Yeah, they really are, Les. It comes from NHTSA, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Just 5-minute drive from where I'm sitting.
All right. And the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's latest figures tell this story. In 2021, an estimated 31,720 people's lives were claimed by traffic fatalities from January through September. That's about a 12% increase over what typically happens.
That's 3 years in a row.
And that's the highest percentage increase during the first 9 months in the history of fatality analysis reporting. And the miles traveled increased in the first 9 months of last year compared to 2020. Well, that's understandable because people were off the road in 2020. And the report also says fatalities increased in 38 states and remained flat in 2 and decreased in 10. So what is causing this? They say, of course, cars have gotten safer. You have pedestrian safety. You have all kinds of automatic braking and that. But really, you got to remember, people are driving some older cars out there because they can't get newer cars, right?
Well, that's
like
true.
Just talking about.
Yep.
And then, of course, we talked about this on Cruise Control a week or so ago, how the pedestrian safety systems don't really work well at night, which is a bad thing because if someone's wearing a dark coat and crossing the street and the system doesn't see them and you don't see them, that can lead to something bad, can it?
Well, that's right. And NHTSA has been looking at the data and some of these semi-autonomous features that are supposed to take care of your steering and automatic braking. They're not effective as effective as people think they are, because people, and we talk about this all the time, people have this false sense that the car is driving itself. And we keep saying, no, it's not. It's semi-autonomous. It's helping you drive.
Yeah, it's helping you.
Yeah, so I think, personally, my opinion is one of the reasons this is happening is that people have a false sense of security from all the hype that's been around these things, and they're not paying attention as much.
Yeah, but do you think the average person that doesn't listen to cruise control even knows these systems are here? Because we always said automatic braking, lane keeping. I mean, a lot of that, if you don't know what it is, you're just not even going to know it's there or not.
That's right. You won't use it.
So, also, I go back to my thought that there's a lot more vehicles on the road that don't have this.
That's true.
Maybe people have decided to drive a little bit on the edge more than they had. I mean, I see that.
I think that's true. And I think another factor, I don't think there's any one reason all this is happening, but there's another factor is people are keeping their vehicles longer and they're not maintaining them quite as well as they should.
Yep.
Financial reasons, whatever.
Yep.
And, they don't brake fast enough. The tires don't have as much traction as they did, and they're just getting into crashes more.
Okay.
So
a little bit of a combination of everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting story for sure. Well, while we're talking about safety, one company has kind of cut their teeth on safety. Interesting story. I think it was on Autoblog, who originally got it from Automotive News. They cited an unidentified source that is familiar with the matter. Sounds like a very political thing. But
yes.
That there's going to be a new EV SUV from Volvo based on an all-new electric platform, and it will come with the very latest autonomous driving technology, which are, of course, semi-autonomous at this point, no matter what Elon Musk says. And it's currently codenamed V546, which this article says isn't the final name. Well, thank goodness for that. How's your I've got the brown V546 out front. Yeah. It is expected to be Volvo's third battery electric vehicle and will be manufactured at Volvo's North Charleston, South Carolina facility, with production duties shared with an undisclosed Chinese plant to be named later.
Undisclosed Chinese plant.
Yeah. Based on the concept Recharge, it will be a global model, and they hope to produce 100,000 units annually. Well, that's mysterious, isn't it?
It is. I think they'll be doing this. I think things like this don't leak out if they don't have a great deal of truth to them.
Yeah, I agree. It could be a a purposeful leak.
And this is exactly what Volvo would do.
Yeah, it's not shocking. It's not like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what
they're
doing.
They're ahead of an awful lot of other companies in autonomous driving. They've had a fleet of 100 fully autonomous vehicles driving the roads of Europe and the U.S. Now for 6 years.
If anyone could do a full self-driving vehicle safely, it probably would be Volvo, because they're not going to blow years of safety, supporting safety and basing their branding on safety by putting out something that's not quite right.
That's right. Now, of course, only their engineers are driving these.
Right.
I've ridden in one, and they're incredible, but they're just being driven, and all the data is being collected so they can work out everything they need to work out. And it's a huge complexity.
Right. Exactly. Well, I'll tell you what, let's talk a little tech, shall we? This is about some technology. I think it is perhaps one of the oldest bits of technology that has not really been touched on any vehicle. You know, we've modernized everything. We've modernized dashboards. We were just talking about safety. We modernized infotainment, everything. But what can you think of one item that really is basically the same as it was almost 100 years ago? What would you think it is?
Well, I happen to know what it is.
Well, I know you read the notes for the show, so
That's right. But if you think about it, there are only two technologies that have been the same all that time. One is the fill valve, the Schrader valve that
On
fills your tires.
Yeah.
And the other is a windshield wiper.
Well, we're going to talk about the windshield wiper.
Yeah.
And this article comes from CarBuzz because they have their person in the patent office. And they have found that Ferrari is looking to redesign the windshield wiper, do away with the arms or have an arm that's much lighter because they will be jetting air into the edge of the windshield at high speed to blow away debris and water. And tiny vibrations and air to get rid of this. So it's sort of like how they clean your teeth with that ultrasonic cleaner. But they would use these tiny vibrations and air to blow it away, basically kind of vibrate them loose and then blow them away. And this would do away with the need for large motors for windshield wipers. It would be somewhat lighter. And also, if you think about it, not that this is a concern on a Ferrari, but you would not have all that mechanism out in the snow and ice and rain, those arms.
That's right.
Yeah. So what do you think about this, Les? It sounds like an interesting idea. Of course, there's another concept from Tesla where they want to use lasers to clean the windshield.
Yeah, I've already poo-pooed that entire technology.
But you think about it, wiper arms and blades, maybe blades have gotten a little bit better, but not
much.
Not much. It's still the same concept. A spring holds tension against the arm to keep it against
and rubber.
Yeah. So
and a windshield that gets incredibly dirty incredibly quickly.
Yeah.
With road salts and oils and air pollution.
Well, who knows?
It's just amazing. And of course, it always streaks right in front of the driver's eyes.
It's true. Hey, we'll be right back with Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. Hey, Les.
Hey, Fred.
So I just wanted to throw over to you because you're going to do an at-the-wheel review of the Hyundai Veloster R-Spec, right?
The Hyundai Veloster Turbo R-Spec.
Oh.
To be exact. Now, for those that don't know what the Veloster is, it's a small two-seat sports coupe.
Yeah.
And by small, I mean small. So that means for people like me who are teenagers who have been around a very, very long time,
All right.
it takes a little bit of doing to get into them. In fact, for anyone who's kind of large,
Has a low roof, right?
Very low roof. It's about waist high when you stand next to it, and you've got to, you have to kind of bend and curl to get into them.
Okay.
Very comfortable once you're inside.
All right.
Seats have lots of bolster.
Right.
Well, the Turbo R-Spec is the high performance version of the Veloster. You've got the Veloster, the Premium Veloster, the Turbo R-Spec, the Turbo, and the Turbo Ultimate.
Okay.
But the R-Spec is the one that's designed, as I said earlier at the intro, for the boy racers.
That's you.
You know,
that is Les
it's
Jackson,
loud.
boy.
Loud
and proud.
Lots of cladding. It's there to let people know, I've got a fast car. I want you to notice it.
And I've got cladding, man.
I have cladding. I have yellow Brembo brakes and all of that stuff. Okay, so once you're inside, lots of instrumentation, actually very high quality interior, and let me just say that all of this is a suggested retail price of $23,450.
Really?
So it's a lot of car.
Yeah.
For that money. And by the way, by a lot of car, that's a 1.5 liter turbo with 201 horsepower.
Wow.
195 pound-feet of torque. So this is not a slow car.
This would be a great little autocrosser, wouldn't it?
Oh boy, yeah. This is the ideal car for autocrossing, for driving out in the countryside and winding up and down mountain roads.
Twisties.
Briskly
navigating the twisties. How's that?
Briskly navigating the twisties. Honestly, it's hard to keep this thing going slow. Okay. By the way, it only comes with a 6-speed manual.
Okay.
If you want an automatic, no. If you want a 7-speed paddle shifter, no.
Is that all of the Veloster lineup, or
no, Joan? Just you can get a manual in the others, but actually not in the premium. But this is just in the Turbo R-Spec. This is meant to be a driver's car. So you got 2 pedals to the left of the throttle, and you've got this thing, and you're supposed to know how to use it.
Right. Although only about 14% of America now knows how to use
that is true, including even a smaller percentage of other automotive
that's true
journalists who don't get these because they don't know how to drive a stick.
We get the ones that say M next to them because we know.
That's right. So it sounds great, but it is loud. It's very throaty inside, lots of resonance. And frankly, for everyday driving, I think you'd have to think twice. But it is, you could see out of it great.
Even out the back, because
even out the back,
that rear window is kind of squished down. The roof.
That's true, but the mirrors are well placed. They're the right size. You don't feel claustrophobic at all, which is a big deal. As you and I have talked about Camaros and other cars like
Sure, where you're driving blind, basically.
that. Is it fast? Yeah.
Yes.
0 to 60, under 5 seconds.
Wow.
And you know it's going. I mean, you get noticed. This is not something to be driving in heavy traffic and zipping. Well, you should never do that anyway, zipping in and out of lanes. You're going to get a ticket with it. But overall, because this is the R spec and because the suspension is set up for autocross and maybe race days, it's a rough ride. It's a real stiff ride.
They've taken a lot of the give out of the suspension.
Yeah, or we call them bone shaker,
Bone shaker.
spine twister, whatever. if you like a smooth ride, you're gonna want a different one.
Okay.
But if you're happy with that, especially if it's a second car and it's kind of your toy,
Yeah.
then you'll have a blast in it. And even while it has all this performance, it's delivering 33 miles to the gallon on the highway.
Wow.
Which is, it's pretty impressive.
Pretty good. It
is
actually pretty good for a performance.
26 city. You can't knock it. Hyundai knows what they're doing here. It's a niche car. All of the Velosters are, just because they're 2C. But they're fun. Would I personally own one all the time? No, because it's not terribly practical.
Right.
For every day, certainly not going to go to Home Depot in it.
You can get the trailer to tow the sheetrock behind it.
Well, I already had my kayak on the top.
So active lifestyler boy racer.
Exactly. But a cool car comes in a lot of neat colors. This was white, but
you can get that matte finish, I believe, too, if you want.
That matte finish. There's a charcoal gray matte finish. It's quite a machine, and as I said at the beginning, it's $23,450, and there are only a few other options like cargo net and floor mats. It adds up. The options only add up to about $500. So
right.
It's really a bargain for what it is. It's just that you have to kind of know what you want.
Well, once again I go back to great autocrosser, fun, something you could drive to an autocross event, have fun with it, and drive it home, right? And
absolutely,
I think you found
and it's a Hyundai.
Found kind of a bargain here, Les.
It is a bargain, and remember, 10-year warranty on the drivetrain.
Yeah, and of course it is a Hyundai, which means it's equipped with virtually everything.
That's right.
You don't have to pay through the nose for options.
Now, well, of course, if you buy one now,
you have to pay through the nose.
It's not going to be $23,450.
No, I bet it will be $10,000 over.
Yeah, probably. But it's something to try out. If that kind of vehicle appeals to you, you need to get in one and take a test drive.
It reminds me sort of the Focus RS, which I thought was a fun machine, but we can no longer get it here because we need an SUV. Everyone needs an SUV.
And a little like the WRXs and, some other cars of the past.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for that review, Les Jackson. Hey, don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com, where you can link over to all our socials and things like that. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staub.
I'm Les Jackson.
We're going to see you down the road.
Bye.